Hi, it's Lori. I know I haven't made a video in a while, but my New Year's intentions for 2018 are to share more of what I've done, and so I'm starting with this little mini album that I've made for my daughter. She specifically requested a mini album about my parents and about them, their years when they first met. And I decided to bring it all the way forward to when my daughter was born. So here we go. I used mostly Tim Holtz papers, some Recollections papers. There's a kit I'll leave in the link below, but they're mostly Tim Holtz. I designed it so that each page had some continuity, so there were tags in certain pages. This is the story of how they met, and a picture of my parents when they were first, I think it was their first Christmas together, when my dad first went into boot camp. Then this is the photo of their wedding. He came home on leave so that they could get married in 1943. And this is the story of his leave changing, so they had to change the date of their wedding. And inside of here is the letter, I copied, of course, telling her that his leave changed so that he would be home later. And this is a rubber stamp that was made from a V-mail that my dad sent her. He was in World War II, and they sent letters called V-mail. My mom worked at a store called Planet Rubber, and they made stamps. So they made a stamp of his V-mail. Here's some of the, here's some of the places that he wasn't all of these places in the war, but he was in Normandy and in Paris and in different places, and some other folks during the war were, in England and Japan. And here is a copy of the V-mail that he sent to her at almost Christmas time on the 5th of December, 1943. So that's a little bit of special memorabilia that she gets a copy of that I hope she'll like. And then this is right after they got married. They were very excited to have him home for his leave so that they could get married, obviously. And then I didn't spend a lot of time on the war because that's a whole nother story, but this is after the war. They bought their first home, and then my sister was born shortly after, as were a lot of other children after the war was over. We are called the baby boomers. I'm still in that group, but barely. This was a story of my dad and his brother marrying my mom and her sister. So 2 brothers married 2 sisters, so they spent a lot of time together, and they did things together. They had a picnic on the lawn. They went into the lake on their boats. These are 4-generation photos. My mom and her grandmother and her mom and my sister. My dad and his grandmother and mom and my sister. So that's the list of who they are. And now they are 3. And then, let's see, yeah, did I skip a page? No, that one just seems really thick to me, I guess because of this extra bit here. So here's another tag with a photo of my mom and my sister. This is their second child. And then this is my mom and my older sister and my dad and my sister and cousin, who is more like a brother to us. And then here is the 4 of them now. Well, it's just 3 of them here, but the 4 of them now. This was a picture of Founders Day. My mom loved to make costumes for different things, and they had a Founders Day event in our town. It's not a great composition, but this is a picture of my mom and dad and his brother and sister making I think they're binding a quilt or something, I'm not sure. Another costume that my mom made. My dad was a pack of cigarettes. It's hard to see, but she was a pack of matches, and he was a pack of cigarettes. It talked about their costuming and their parties with their friends. This picture is, they were swimming somewhere, I'm not sure, but they did love to go to Virginia, so I just stuck it in. But they, judging by the ages of my sisters, my mom was either pregnant with me here or about to become pregnant with me, so that was kind of fun to find. She has a lot of pictures, had a lot of pictures, my mom. And then this is when I was born, a picture of my baptism, a little calendar with the day that I was born. And now we are 5. So grab that so it doesn't get too far lost back there. And of course this was my baptism day. And then this one is a family shot and a shot of my mom and dad, but it talks about how my mom and dad took so many photos of everything that they did, especially my dad. I still have his old camera, and they really did take photos of everything special in their lives. So now it's special for me to be a memory keeper, to have all these things that I don't have to wonder what happened. More family photos. They did a lot of these for church directories, or they just went and had posed photos. So again, my mom and her sister, my dad and his brother, they spent a lot of time together. And then this was about their house, the 2 homes that they bought in their lifetimes, and how much they loved them and what they loved them for different reasons, why they loved them. This was their Florida time. My dad grew bananas for a while, although they were pretty small and a bit hard to eat. And my mom loved the Florida climate. She was always barefoot. She could be. This is a story about my dad working, what he did for most of his life, and a photo of his first job, the folks that worked with him in his first job. And there's a little arrow that points to him. It's so nice to have these old photos, and this Tim Holtz paper was so special. This paper was just old toy cars, which I thought was fun, and they had some little, a whole sheet, but I cut apart some things that had to do with cars. These are also some Tim Holtz die cuts. Some of these are from a pack of ephemera that he has. I got from Amazon, and that worked out really well too. This talks about how my dad loved to golf. And fish. There is golfing here, but this is fish. I know you're thinking, well, that's not golfing. I didn't have any pictures of him golfing, actually, but I had lots of pictures of him with his fish. And also talking about how my grandpa had worm beds, and so they always had bait. They didn't have to buy bait, but bait was really cheap then, too. And then comes into the part where Sarah was born, so they came to, I know that's a little bit of a disjointed, but I wanted her to have not only stories that were told chronologically, but also stories about who they were as people. So this was the place where she was born in Puerto Rico, so they came to Puerto Rico when she was born. And then this is a little bit of when she was a little bit older, they came again. She called my dad Bumpa when she was little, so she always called him that. My son called him that too. And then this is really the last page with photos, and this page is it's fun because my dad was driving our Christmas gifts to my sister's house. She lived across the lake, on the lake where they lived. So he rowed in the boat, rowed our gifts over with a little reindeer on the end of the boat. But this was actually our last Christmas with him, so that was sort of the end of our book. I did tell her at the end in the journaling that there might be more books, that this might just be volume 1. And so here I tell her about, that I hope she enjoys this scrapbook and that there were so many stories to tell, but then I told her my favorite story, which was really that once upon a time they met and fell in love and were reunited after a difficult war and had 3 children. And then I had her and her brother and sister, and that they created this amazing family. So I hope she will get this tomorrow for our family Christmas, but I hope she loves it as much as I enjoyed making it. It was very sweet to find these photos to use and to do this. I bound it with my cinch. It's a little chunky for this 1-inch bind, but it's not bad. I think it worked out okay. So thanks for joining me today and allowing me to share not only my scrapbook, but a little bit of my parents' stories, my story, the story of my children's heritage. And I hope that you will inspire me with your stories about your ancestry. If you have videos or if you have stories you'd like to tell, please put them in the comments. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. I promise I will be more diligent about sharing videos on the YouTube channel as well as on the blog. That is one of my intentions for this year, and so I hope that I can fulfill it. Thanks again and have a great day. Bye-bye.